to push forward. Well, what better way to do that than to go to these countries and sort of test run how the business could go if they expand into Australia? I think nothing has been confirmed, but certainly it feels like that's the mood music.
And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
Something unexpected just flipped the script on Meghan Markle's upcoming Australia trip, and the internet is loud about it right now. Fresh reports say the chaos kicked off after a private email somehow leaked into public view, and this wasn't just some random message people could ignore. This email allegedly pulled back the curtain on behind-the-scenes details tied to an event connected to Meghan's visit.
No, can I just tell you that Australia has tackled illegal immigration very successfully. And I think given the fact that Harry and Meghan are on their way, I think it's time to reactivate Operation Sovereign Borders, Paul. Just, airstrikes, get the boats out. Because no, the bottom line is, I mean, I can't speak for your viewers, but I will tell you that lots of Australian viewers of the Mark Dolan show don't want to see Harry and Meghan. The reason why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now.
Details that were never supposed to go public. Now insiders claim Meghan is seriously concerned about what else could surface next. Because once one private message gets out, people instantly start asking what else is being kept hidden. And the timing could not be worse. This Australia trip was meant to be smooth, polished, and drama-free for Meghan. The goal was to rebuild momentum around her public image and spotlight her latest projects. But now the conversation online is shifting fast, and not in her favor.
It's so interesting. I was actually on that royal tour back in 2018, and the optics for us at that time, because we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, and to Tom Bauer's book, I mean, these are the claims that he's talking about. It's the lead up to Megxit. But for us as journalists and members of the public seeing that tour, it looked like a huge success. There were thousands of people greeting them everywhere. They were so popular at that time. It felt like this really huge moment for them and a really exciting moment for the monarchy. Now, as we know, that wasn't how they felt about it behind the scenes. And, 18 months later, they had left the royal family.
People are suddenly debating transparency, high-end, lifestyles, and whether this event is really what it claims to be. And that shift is dragging attention away from what was supposed to lead the headlines. To really understand why this situation is blowing up, you have to look at what was actually revealed in that leaked email. Reports highlighted by Sky News Australia claim the message came from internal communications linked to Meghan's planned appearance at a women-focused retreat in Australia. And somehow it ended up everywhere. The contents reportedly included planning details, internal notes, and logistical info meant strictly for people behind the scenes. And once something like that hits the internet, it moves fast, speculation spreads instantly, opinions form in seconds, and everyone starts building their own theories. Now, leaks around celebrities are nothing new. Private messages and internal plans do slip out sometimes, but this situation hit differently.
But apparently Australia holds a special place in the handlers' minds, because somehow they think Australia has been kinder to the formers than anywhere else. I'm pretty sure Australia's not massive fans.
This email didn't just reveal basic planning, it pushed people to zoom in on the event itself, and that's when things started getting complicated real quick. The event tied to Meghan's visit is being promoted as a luxury women's retreat focused on empowerment, networking, and personal growth.
So there is that aspect of it where they want to come here and I guess just sort of launch this new phase of their career. But at the same time, it will, of course, invite comparisons to that trip back in 2018 when there were thousands of people out to meet them. And now you're looking at situations where they're selling tickets for events. So Meghan will be doing this best.
On the surface, it sounds inspiring, a place where women can connect, share ideas, and level up together. But as the story spread, critics quickly locked onto one detail that grabbed attention instantly. The price? Tickets for this retreat are reportedly listed at levels many people are calling extremely expensive, running into the thousands of Australian dollars.
Right back to the current moment.
I just think this is another Montecito money grab. As you rightly mentioned, the Netflix deal has been cancelled. These two just won't give up and they're just desperate for this relevance. They've got relevance deprivation.
Supporters argue that pricing like this makes sense when you factor in celebrity speakers, exclusive access, and upscale venues, but critics are not buying that explanation at all. Instead, they're asking a bigger question. If this is about empowerment and opportunity, why does it feel like it's built only for a small group of wealthy attendees? That one question has
Well, thankfully, Meghan Markle grew up in Hollywood, where hiring extras or seat fillers is a go-to to avoid looking like you failed miserably at something. So who knows? There might not be an empty seat in the house. But honestly, who would pay $3,000 for quotes like, "You have to anchor yourself in your own knowing," or "My bacon brings all the boys to the yard"? I would pay $3,000 for a grifter's guide to making millions off of Netflix and Spotify while doing the bare minimum. I would definitely pay $3,000 for a lesson on how to trap a prince. But that's not what these ladies will get. They'll get Meghan transferring one bag of pretzels into another bag of...
Sparked intense debate across social media, with comment sections blowing up as people dropped strong and divided opinions. And just when things were already heating up, another layer of curiosity started building online.
So, there is a brand new book which is all in and around Meghan Markle being able to brainwash Harry. Do you buy it? Do you believe it? Or is it just a way to sell some paperbacks?
Well, listen, Tom Bower is one of the most feared biographers in the world, and he's gone after Richard Branson, Tony Blair, and of course, Meghan Markle. None of those people have successfully sued him because, like you, Paul, he's an elite level journalist who checks his facts. And don't forget that these publishing companies are not stupid. They're not going to publish things that aren't true because they know they'll wind up in...
More voices jumped in, and a second question began popping up everywhere, pushing this controversy even further into the spotlight. Was this email leak just an accident, or was it intentional? Right now, there's absolutely no proof that the message was leaked on purpose, but just the idea alone has people talking nonstop. In the world of celebrity coverage and royal watchers, even the smallest mystery can turn into a massive story overnight, and this situation is doing exactly that.
The royal family 6 years ago, and we have seen even just the fact their Netflix deal was downgraded, although that's not how they have said it, but it is. These sorts of things, I mean, their value has changed, and that is a very expensive ticket. I will say one thing on a personal note: when I saw that $3,000 doesn't get you an individual photo with Meghan, I thought, well, I'd be pretty upset.
Yes.
if I'm going to pay that kind of money to attend this event, presumably just to hear her speak and be in proximity to her, I want a selfie with the two.
Some observers believe this controversy could completely overshadow the real purpose of Meghan's Australia trip. Others say it highlights something that has followed her for years: the gap between public messaging and how the public actually sees things. Supporters often point to Meghan's advocacy work, charity efforts, and campaigns for social causes. But critics keep circling back to what they see as mixed signals, especially when those values seem to clash with the high-end lifestyle surrounding events like this. And now, that tension is front and center again in a big way.
Expert Richard Kay has claimed Princess Diana was preparing her younger son, Prince Harry, to be the king, preferencing him over the shy Prince William, who Diana felt wasn't interested in the top job. Kinsey, look, we have a lot of respect for the late Princess Diana in this country, but man, did she get that one wrong.
Yeah, I'm allergic to this story. Are we really expected to trust her judgment? Diana died in the backseat of a car with a guy who was engaged to another woman. Another one of her ex-lovers wrote a tell-all about her titled Princess in Love, airing all of their dirty laundry. Prince Charles, period. I mean, I don't even have to go into that one. Her poor judgment in men should be studied in classrooms. Harry is right where he should be, taking pictures with paying customers like he's Mickey Mouse.
That exact tension is why this email leak is pulling so much attention right now. For people watching from the outside, it feels like a rare behind-the-scenes look. Suddenly, private planning details are out in the open, and that instantly sparks curiosity because people always want to know what really happens behind closed doors at events like this. But the email isn't the only reason this story is exploding. Another major factor is the location, Australia, and that adds a whole new layer of interest to everything unfolding. Back in 2018, not long after their wedding, Prince Harry and Meghan traveled to Australia for a royal tour that many called a huge success.
Figure. His book is called Betrayal. It contains some really juicy allegations, including claims that Queen Camilla, King Charles's wife, confided to a friend, Harry's been brainwashed by Meghan. Who could disagree? Since they got married, He suddenly hates his country, hates his family, hates being a royal, and goes off for a very boring life in...
Massive crowds showed up, the media coverage was overwhelmingly positive, and some even described it as one of the most successful royal tours in recent memory. The energy around them at that time was strong, exciting, and impossible to ignore. Now fast forward to today, and things look very different. Since stepping back from royal duties and moving to the United States, Harry and Meghan have taken a new path focused on media projects, documentaries, and independent ventures. Some of those projects got praise and major attention, while others sparked serious debate and criticism across news outlets and social media. Because of that mixed journey, every public appearance now comes with intense scrutiny, and that brings everything right back to this moment.
About a year since With Love Meghan launched, and we had 2 seasons of that and a one-off holiday special, and that's no more. So now really all of her eggs are very literally in the as ever basket, especially now she's going it alone without Netflix. So this all kind of feeds into this this image and this career she's trying to build for herself as sort of a Gwyneth Paltrow type, or just getting out there, and it's about lifestyle and self-help and all of those sorts of things. And it does feed into that.
If this Australia trip was supposed to mark a fresh chapter for Meghan, this leaked email may have already shifted the narrative in a major way. Instead of excitement building around her appearance, the conversation online is now packed with questions about the event, questions about transparency, and questions about whether this situation could turn into something even bigger. And here's where things get even more intense. Some insiders say the biggest concern behind the scenes isn't just the email that already leaked, but the chance that more information could drop.
So it is now 7 years on, they're going to be coming back to Australia, but the landscape for them could not be more different. So as I mentioned earlier, I have had sources telling me that it's about coming back here for, there's 2 main reasons that were mentioned to me. And one is Harry's connection with friends that he's cultivated over the years in Australia. He has a lot of close friends here, particularly in the military community. Then he'll be looking to doing some work in that space while he's here. And also for Meghan, as I said, she's at a very important point in this lifestyle company that she's running and trying to build this empire, because she has now split.
If additional messages or planning details surface, this situation could escalate fast and pull even more attention. As the email spread across social media and news platforms, one detail started getting just as much attention as the leak itself: the exclusive women's retreat Meghan is expected to attend during her Australia trip. The event is being promoted as a high-end experience centered on empowerment, networking, and personal growth.
For that are around $3,000. So she'll need to sell out that event, because the optics would be terrible if she didn't. But also with Harry, he'll be doing a mental health speech on workplace mental health in Melbourne while he's here. And again, tickets for that are around $2,000. All proceeds go to charity, but they are now commercial and private citizens, as they say. So it's a very different landscape, and there will be comparisons when they're here to that big trip for the monarchy 7 years ago.
On paper, it sounds like a powerful and inspiring gathering designed to connect ambitious women, but the price tag instantly triggered strong reactions. Reports suggest tickets could cost thousands of Australian dollars, and that number alone sent social media into overdrive. People began questioning whether the event truly reflects accessibility and empowerment, or if it's mainly designed for a wealthy crowd. Comments flooded in fast. Some people said things like, "How empowering can a retreat be if only the richest women can attend?" Others added, "Meghan talks about inclusivity, yet this is outrageously expensive." Another reaction gaining traction claimed, "This is starting to look more like a celebrity vacation than a serious event." These responses highlight a pattern that has followed Meghan for years: the gap between how her message is presented and how some audiences interpret it. And right now, that gap is once again becoming a major talking point. For many observers, this retreat and the leaked email feel like another example of that ongoing tension. Supporters argue that high-profile events are necessary to attract attention, bring in influential voices, and support important initiatives, but critics see it very differently. To them, events with luxury price tags can come across as disconnected from the ideas of accessibility and empowerment that are often tied to Meghan's public image, and the debate doesn't stop at ticket prices. According to multiple reports, the leaked email also revealed behind-the-scenes details about Meghan's schedule, travel plans, and even some of the people expected to attend or meet with her during the visit. On their own, those details might not seem shocking, but when you stack them on top of everything else, they add serious pressure to a situation that's already got people talking everywhere. In fact, the information sounds like standard planning for a major public appearance. Nothing unusual at first glance, but the second private details go public, everything changes fast. Curiosity spikes, speculation spreads, and suddenly something routine turns into a major headline. And of course, media. Outlets wasted no time jumping on this story. News organizations across different countries started breaking it all down. Not just what the email said, but what it might reveal about Meghan's planning style, her priorities, and her overall approach to public events. Some headlines kept it straightforward, focusing on what was actually exposed. Others leaned more critical, suggesting this leak raises bigger questions about how the entire trip is being handled. Online reactions are showing a very clear split. Some people continue to support Meghan, pointing to her work, her causes, and the projects she's involved in. But there's also a large group of critics who remain skeptical, and that skepticism gets stronger every time private details or internal decisions end up in public view. Even before this email leak, Meghan's post-royal journey was already under intense scrutiny. Her documentaries, interviews, media deals, and public appearances have all sparked strong reactions. Some projects brought praise and major attention, while others faced mixed feedback or sharp criticism. Now, with this email spreading everywhere, the narrative is shifting again. One question is starting to take over online discussions. Can any public appearance involving Meghan avoid this level of scrutiny anymore? Because right now, every move seems to trigger a wave of analysis, debate, and non-stop speculation. And the timing just makes everything feel even more intense. This Australia trip was supposed to highlight key engagements, bring attention to Meghan's initiatives, and strengthen her global presence. Instead, the leaked email is dominating headlines and pulling focus away from what this visit was supposed to be about. Social media has been non-stop. Reactions are coming in from every direction. Some users are saying things like, Meghan seems more focused on exclusivity than empowerment. Others are asking, another email leak? How many more details are going to come out? One frustrated comment even said, this Australia trip is already a mess before it even starts. These reactions show just how divided public opinion around Meghan has become. Even something as simple as a logistical email can turn into a massive debate when every move is being watched this closely. The stakes around public perception are extremely high, and the bigger picture explains why this story is getting so much attention. Since stepping away from royal duties in 2020, Meghan and Prince Harry have been navigating a complicated mix of media deals, charity work, business ventures, and public appearances. Some of those moves brought major success and positive headlines. Others sparked skepticism and heavy criticism. Because of that history, this leaked email isn't just a one-off situation. It fits into a much bigger ongoing narrative that people are already watching closely. Observers often point out that even the smallest missteps, or moments that seem slightly off, can quickly blow up into major controversies for the couple. And with this trip already tied to luxury, exclusivity, and global attention, it was always going to be under a microscope. Now insiders say Meghan is fully aware of the intense scrutiny surrounding this situation. Reports suggest the leak has raised concerns about how things could be misinterpreted, and the possibility that even more private details might surface later. If that happens, the focus could drift even further away from the real purpose of the trip, and that's where things take another sharp turn. Some sources claim Meghan may now be quietly reviewing parts of the trip in response to the leak. That could mean adjustments to schedules, changes to guest lists, or even subtle shifts in how certain events are organized. And of course, that leads to a major question people keep asking. Will everything move forward exactly as planned, or are changes already happening behind the scenes to avoid even more backlash? With so many moving parts and the leaked email spreading fast, no one really knows how this Australia trip will unfold, or what other details could still come out. For people watching closely, this story is far from finished. That's exactly why this situation feels so intense right now. Every new reaction, every viral post, and every rumored adjustment instantly turns into another chapter in a story that's moving at full speed. People online are tracking everything in real time, and because Meghan and Harry's post-royal journey has already been packed with headlines, the pressure feels even higher this time. As the countdown to the Australia trip continues, media outlets, commentators, and audiences are all locked in. Everyone is waiting for the next twist. Will more details leak? Will plans shift quietly behind the scenes, or will everything go ahead exactly as scheduled? Right now, despite all the noise, the conversation keeps circling around three main things: the luxury retreat, the leaked email, and the flood of reactions taking over social media. But beyond those headlines, a bigger question is starting to build. What does this moment mean for Meghan's public image, and how could it shape what comes next? At this point, this isn't just about one event anymore. It's part of a much larger story involving intense celebrity scrutiny, powerful media narratives, and the challenge of maintaining a carefully managed public image in a world where even the smallest detail can go viral in seconds. One email leaks, and suddenly millions of people are debating it across every platform. With that in mind, attention is now shifting to the final piece of the puzzle, the Australia trip itself. The meaning behind Meghan and Harry returning there, and the impact this visit could have on both their personal and professional path. With the leaked email dominating headlines and the luxury retreat facing heavy criticism online, all eyes are now locked on Meghan Markle's upcoming visit. This isn't just another appearance, it carries layers of significance for both Meghan and Prince Harry. Originally, the trip was designed as a major moment to spotlight Meghan's initiatives, promote the retreat, and reinforce their presence on the global stage. For some observers, it even feels like a subtle return to places they once visited as senior royals. Back in 2018, Australia played a huge role in shaping their early public image. Massive crowds showed up, the coverage was overwhelmingly positive, and many described that tour as one of the most successful royal visits in recent history. Because of that history, expectations for this new trip were already sky high. Organizers planned structured appearances, exclusive gatherings, and events designed to generate buzz around Meghan's work. But the leak changed everything almost overnight. Now the spotlight isn't just on Meghan's advocacy or the retreat. It's shifted toward how her plans were exposed, how people are interpreting them, and what the fallout could be. Critics moved fast, sharing their opinions across platforms. Social media filled up with posts questioning the retreat's cost and pointing out what some see as a disconnect between empowerment messaging and the exclusivity of a luxury event. Memes started spreading everywhere. Viral posts popped up non-stop. Commentary videos followed almost instantly. It's a clear example of how fast public perception can flip in the social media era. One unexpected detail can rewrite the entire narrative in hours. Some observers now believe the leak could completely overshadow the retreat itself. For them, the timing couldn't be worse. Instead of headlines about empowerment and networking, the focus has shifted to transparency, privilege, and access. Meanwhile, reports suggest Meghan and Harry's team is fully aware of how serious this situation could become. Insiders claim parts of the trip are now under close review, with possible adjustments to schedules, guest lists, and event logistics in an effort to reduce further controversy. Whether those changes will actually calm the conversation is still unclear, and that uncertainty is only adding more tension to an already fast-moving situation. Beyond the immediate drama, this situation highlights a bigger issue that continues to follow Meghan and Harry: the ongoing gap between intention and public perception. In today's media environment, even the most carefully planned events can turn into major debates the moment private details become public. Meghan Markle has spent years building a public image centered on advocacy, empowerment, and charitable work. Those themes show up consistently across her speeches, appearances, and projects. But now, every move, especially something as high-profile as this Australia trip, faces intense scrutiny. Even small details like a leaked email or the cost of an event can explode into major talking points that overshadow everything else. At the same time, commentators and media outlets keep linking this moment to Meghan and Harry's past ventures, from streaming projects to major interviews and public appearances. Critics argue the couple often operates in a space where influence and controversy sit side by side, and that pattern continues to drive attention. Because of that history, every new appearance gets picked apart in detail. Observers watch closely for any signs of inconsistency, flashes of luxury, or decisions that could spark debate. In that sense, this Australia trip isn't just another date. It feels like the latest chapter in an ongoing, high-profile storyline. Every move involving Meghan and Harry gets analyzed step by step. People break down the messaging, the setting, the guest lists, and even the smallest logistical choices, all searching for clues about their priorities and intentions. Still, supporters are firmly on Meghan's side. Many argue that high-profile events like this retreat can be powerful tools for raising awareness, supporting initiatives, and bringing attention to causes that might otherwise be ignored. From their perspective, celebrity visibility can amplify important conversations and even push real change forward. But this clash of views is exactly what's making everything feel so intense right now. On one side, supporters see purpose, advocacy, and smart use of influence. On the other, critics believe the execution sometimes doesn't match the message. That tension has followed Meghan for years, and now, with this leaked email, it's been pushed right back into the spotlight in a major way. Another layer making this even more interesting is the international angle. Australia has a long and complicated connection with the British royal family, so any visit involving former senior royals naturally draws huge attention. For Meghan and Harry, this trip carries extra weight. It's not just about showing up at a retreat. It's a highly watched public moment in a country where they once received massive crowds and strong media support. Back in 2018, huge audiences turned out during their tour, and the coverage was overwhelmingly positive. Because of that history, expectations for any return are automatically set high. But now, instead of the spotlight staying on the retreat or Meghan's initiatives, the focus has shifted hard toward the leaked email and the reactions surrounding it. Observers say that while some supporters may still focus on the retreat itself, much of the media coverage is now centered on the leak, the online backlash, and the potential impact on public perception. Every tweet, every comment, and every headline adds another layer to the story, and in today's fast-moving media space, that narrative can spiral quickly. Reports suggest Meghan is fully aware of how sensitive things have become. The leak is a clear reminder of how fast private planning can go public, and how quickly the narrative can shift away from the original message. Insiders say this awareness is already shaping how her team is handling communication around the trip. Planning, messaging, and logistics are reportedly being reviewed closely as the visit gets closer, with the goal of reducing confusion and keeping attention on the purpose of the trip. And this is where things get even more intense. After the email leak, people are watching closely for what happens next. How will Meghan and Harry present themselves during the visit? Will the retreat be adjusted or reframed in response to the criticism? Even casual observers are getting pulled into the conversation. Online discussions range from speculation about motivations to bigger debates about transparency, privilege, and authenticity. These conversations spread fast, and every new update keeps the momentum going. As the countdown continues, one question keeps getting louder. Will Meghan and Harry manage to navigate this situation smoothly, or will the leaked email end up defining the entire trip? That uncertainty is exactly what's making this story so gripping right now. In the world of celebrity coverage, every move is watched closely, and even the smallest detail can explode into a massive headline overnight. With the spotlight locked on Meghan and Harry, even minor developments can suddenly turn into major news. At this point, all the pieces are in place. The leaked email, the luxury retreat, the intense social media reactions, and the long history tied to their public image have all come together into one high-stakes situation. What started as a planned visit has now turned into something much bigger. For many observers, this isn't just about a trip anymore. It's become a test of perception, influence, and control over the public narrative, and everyone is watching closely to see how it all plays out.